The morning air was cold on Mirai's face. She walked quietly through the purple trees, careful not to make noise. The sun was just starting to come up, painting the sky with orange and pink colors. She was not supposed to be here. Her parents told her many times to stay inside the colony walls. But Mirai loved the forest too much to listen. She was 8 years old and small for her age. Her black hair was tied in 2 braids that bounced as she walked. She carried a small bag with some food and water. She also had her father's old camera. He was a scientist who studied animals. Mirai wanted to take pictures of the strange creatures that lived in this alien world. The forest was beautiful. Strange plants glowed softly in the dim light. Some had leaves that moved when she walked past, like they were saying hello. Birds with 4 wings sang songs she had never heard on Earth. Everything here was different. Everything here was exciting. Then she heard it. A sound that made her stop walking. It was a low whimper like an animal in pain. Mirai's heart beat faster. She knew she should turn back. She knew the big wolf creatures lived in these woods. Her father called them megafauna. Her mother called them dangerous. But the sound was so sad, so full of hurt. Mirai followed the sound. She walked slowly, pushing aside glowing plants and stepping over twisted roots. The whimpering got louder. Then she saw it. The creature was huge. It lay beside a small stream, its body heaving with each breath. It looked like a wolf, but much bigger. As big as a horse, maybe bigger. Its fur was silver gray and thick. Its paws had claws as long as her fingers. This was one of the creatures her parents warned her about. This was a predator. This was dangerous, but it was also hurt. Mirai could see something stuck in its snout. A large thorn, clear like glass but sharp like a knife. Green blood dripped from where the thorn pierced the skin. The creature's eyes were closed, but tears ran down its face. It made small crying sounds that broke Mirai's heart. She should run. She should go back to the colony and tell her father. He would know what to do. But the creature was suffering now. By the time she got help, it might be too late. Mirai took a deep breath. She remembered what her father taught her about helping injured animals. Move slowly, talk softly. Let them know you want to help, not hurt. She stepped closer. The creature's ear twitched. Its eyes opened slowly. They were amber-colored like honey in sunlight. For a moment, Mirai and the wolf creature just looked at each other. She could see intelligence in those eyes. Not just animal instinct. Something more. Something that understood. The creature growled. It was a low warning sound. But it did not try to stand. It did not try to attack. It was too weak, too hurt. Mirai kept talking. Her voice was soft and calm. She told the creature she wanted to help. She told it she knew it hurt. She told it she was scared too, but she would be gentle. She did not know if it could understand her words. But maybe it could understand her tone. Maybe it could feel that she meant no harm. She knelt beside its head. The creature was so big. Its head alone was larger than her whole body. One bite could kill her easily. But Mirai pushed the fear away. She focused on the thorn. She could see it was deep. The thorn had barbs on it, little hooks that caught the flesh. If she pulled it straight out, it would tear everything. She needed to be smart. She needed to be careful. Mirai reached out slowly. Her hand touched the creature's snout. The fur was softer than she expected. The creature flinched but did not pull away. She could feel it trembling. From pain or fear, she could not tell. Maybe both. She gripped the thorn carefully. It was cold to the touch and very hard. She began to twist it slowly, very slowly. The creature whimpered louder. Its whole body tensed. Mirai kept talking, kept making soothing sounds. She twisted the thorn a little more, feeling how the barbs moved under the skin. Minutes passed. Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe 20. Mirai lost track of time. Her hands were shaking. Sweat ran down her face even though the morning was cold. But she kept working. Twist a little. Wait. Twist a little more. Let the barbs line up with the way they went in. The creature never tried to bite her. It lay there, trusting this small human child with its pain. Its amber eyes watched her the whole time. In those eyes, Mirai saw something change. The fear was still there. But now there was something else too. Hope, maybe, or trust. Finally, she felt the thorn loosen. One more careful twist and it came free. Green blood flowed faster for a moment, then began to slow as the wound started to close. The creature's blood was thick and clotted quickly. Mirai sat back, breathing hard. Her hands were covered in green blood. The thorn lay on the ground beside her as long as her forearm. She looked at the creature. It looked back at her. Then the creature did something amazing. It lifted its huge head and touched her face with its nose. The touch was gentle, soft, like a thank you, like a promise. Mirai felt tears in her eyes. She reached up and stroked the soft fur between its ears. For a long moment they stayed like that, a little human girl and a giant alien wolf, connected by one simple act of kindness. Then Mirai heard her father's voice calling her name in the distance. He sounded worried. She had been gone too long. They were looking for her. She looked at the creature. It looked at her. Then it slowly stood up. It was even bigger standing. It tested its snout, sniffing the air. The pain was gone from its eyes. It looked at Mirai one more time and she could swear it nodded. Like it understood. Like it remembered. Then it turned and walked into the forest. In seconds it disappeared into the purple trees like a ghost. Mirai stood up. She washed her hands in the stream and started walking back toward the colony. Her father's voice was getting closer. She would be in trouble for sneaking out. Her mother would be angry and scared. But Mirai smiled anyway. She had helped. She had made a difference. And somehow, deep in her heart, she knew this was not the end. It was only the beginning. Behind her, from deep in the forest, came a sound. A long, echoing howl that made the birds stop singing. It was not a sound of pain. It was something else. A call, an announcement. A promise returned. Mirai kept walking, but she smiled wider. Yes, she thought. This was definitely just the beginning. 3 days passed after Mirai met the wolf creature. She got in big trouble when her father found her near the forest. Her mother cried and hugged her tight. They made her promise never to sneak out again. Mirai said yes, but she kept thinking about those amber eyes, about that gentle touch. Strange things started happening at the colony. The security cameras showed wolf creatures near the walls at night. But they did not attack. They just watched. The guards got nervous. Captain Doyen increased patrols. Everyone talked about what it meant. Hyun, Mirai's father, was very interested in her story. He was a scientist, and scientists love mysteries. He asked her questions about the creature. How big was it? What color was its blood? Did it make any sounds? Mirai answered everything she could remember. On the 4th day, something incredible happened. A colony worker found something outside the main gate. It was a dead animal, a razor deer. These were good to eat, but hard to hunt. The deer was fresh, killed cleanly. It was placed carefully right in front of the gate camera. Captain Doyen thought it was a trap, but Hyun disagreed. He said it was a gift. Many Earth animals brought gifts to show thanks or friendship. Maybe these wolf creatures did the same thing. Maybe they were smarter than anyone thought. Mirai knew the truth. The wolf she helped was saying thank you. She begged her parents to let her go back to the forest. She wanted to thank the creature for the gift. At first they said no. It was too dangerous. But Hyun began to think. If these creatures were intelligent, if they could communicate, this was important. This could change everything. After 2 days of arguing, they agreed. But there were rules. Hyun would go with her. They would bring cameras and recording equipment. Captain Doyen would send 2 guards to watch from a distance. If anything went wrong, they would come in fast. Mirai and her father went back to the stream where she found the hurt wolf. They brought gifts too. Hyun packed medical supplies and some dried meat from the colony. They did not know what the wolf creatures ate, but meat seemed like a safe choice. They waited by the stream for an hour. The forest was quiet except for the sound of water and strange bird calls. Hyun set up his equipment. He was excited and nervous at the same time. Mirai just sat quietly, hoping her friend would come. Then she heard footsteps, big, heavy footsteps. The wolf creature walked out of the trees. It was him. She knew it was the same one. He had a small scar on his snout where the thorn had been. His silver fur shone in the sunlight. Hyun froze. Seeing the creature on a camera was different from seeing it in person. It was massive, powerful. Every instinct told him to grab his daughter and run. But Mirai stood up slowly and smiled. The wolf creature looked at Mirai. Then it looked at Hyun. Then back at Mirai. It made a low sound, not quite a growl, more like a question. Mirai spoke softly, telling it that Hyun was her father, that he was good, that he wanted to be friends too. The creature took a step closer, then another. Hyun's hand shook as he held the camera. The creature stopped a few feet away. It sat down like a dog would sit. Up close, Hyun could see the intelligence in its eyes. This was not just a smart animal. This was something more. This was a person in a different shape. Mirai reached into her bag and pulled out the dried meat. She held it out. The creature sniffed the air. Then it gently took the meat from her hand with its teeth, careful not to hurt her. It ate the meat and made a satisfied sound. Hyun found his voice. He thanked the creature for the razor deer. He said it was kind. He said they wanted to be friends. The creature tilted its head, listening. Its ears moved forward, focused on the sounds. It was trying to understand. Over the next hour, something magical happened. Mirai and her father sat with the wolf creature by the stream. They showed it pictures on a tablet computer. Pictures of earth animals, of wolves and dogs. The creature seemed fascinated. It made sounds back at them. Different kinds of growls and huffs and low howls. They were trying to talk to each other. Mirai pointed at the creature and said a name. Kova. She did not know why she chose that name. It just felt right. The creature's ears perked up. She said it again. Kova. The creature made a sound that might have been trying to copy the word. Close enough. From now on, he was Kova. Kova pointed his nose at Mirai. She understood. She said her name clearly. Mirai. Kova tried to make the sound. It came out strange through his wolf mouth, but he tried. Then he pointed at Hyun. Hyun said his name. Kova tried that too. They were learning. The sun was getting lower in the sky. Hyun knew they needed to get back before dark. He told Mirai it was time to go. She looked sad, but she understood. She told Kova they had to leave. But she asked if he would come back tomorrow. She made gestures, pointing at the sun, showing it moving across the sky, coming back to this spot. Kova seemed to understand. He stood up and touched Mirai's hand with his nose like he did before. Then he touched Hyun's hand too. Hyun felt tears in his eyes. This moment would change everything they knew about this world. These creatures were not animals. They were people. Kova walked back into the forest. But before he disappeared, he turned and made a long, low howl. Other howls answered from far away. Kova was not alone. He had family. He had a pack. That night, the whole colony talked about nothing else. Hyun showed his video recordings to everyone. Some people were excited. This was first contact with intelligent alien life, but others were scared. These were predators. Big, dangerous predators. What if they decided humans were food? What if this was all a trick? Captain Doyen called a meeting. He was an old soldier who had seen many things in his life. He did not trust easily, but he had also learned to listen to evidence. The video was clear. The creature Kova showed understanding. He brought gifts. He was careful with Mirai and Hyun. These were not the actions of a mindless beast. They voted. Should they continue contact or close the gates and avoid the forest? It was close, but the yes votes won. They would keep meeting with Kova. They would try to learn his language. They would try to build friendship. It was risky, but the possible reward was worth it. Mirai could not sleep that night. She lay in bed thinking about Kova, thinking about his pack. Somewhere out in the purple forest, Kova was probably doing the same thing, thinking about the little human who helped him, thinking about her father who showed him pictures, thinking about what it all meant. Two worlds were coming together. One was human, from Earth, full of technology and science. The other was Verak. That was what they started calling Kova's people. They were strong and wild and lived with nature. Both worlds had so much to learn from each other. Both worlds had so much to gain. But bringing two worlds together is never easy. There would be problems. There would be misunderstandings. Some humans would not trust the Verak. Some Verak would not trust the humans. But Mirai believed it was possible. She had seen kindness in Kova's eyes. She had felt his gentle touch. If they could become friends, then anything was possible. Tomorrow they would meet again. And the day after that, and the day after that, slowly, word by word, gesture by gesture, they would build a bridge between two peoples. It started with a little girl removing a thorn. But it would become something much bigger, something that would change the galaxy forever. 6 weeks passed. Mirai and Kova met almost every day at the stream. Other humans came too. Scientists like Hyun who wanted to learn. Guards like Captain Doyen who wanted to protect. Even Yuna, Mirai's mother, came a few times. She was still scared, but she saw how gentle Kova was with her daughter. She began to believe this could work. Kova brought other Verak to meet the humans. First came Nara, an old female with gray fur. She was wise and kind. She seemed to understand things faster than the others. She learned human words quickly. Then came Vex, a huge male with dark fur and scars from many fights. He was the leader of Kova's pack. He did not smile, but he was not hostile either. He watched. He listened. He judged trade began. Humans gave the Varak metal tools that made hunting easier. They gave medicine that could heal wounds faster. The Varak gave humans knowledge about the planet. They showed where good water was. They showed which plants were safe to eat and which were poison. They showed secret paths through the mountains. Everything seemed good. Peace was working. Then the mining team went out. 5 humans went to dig for minerals in the mountains. They were looking for metals the colony needed. But they went into the wrong territory. They went into land that belonged to a different Varak pack, a pack that did not know about the peace, a pack that saw humans as invaders. The Shadow Fang pack attacked. 2 humans died. 3 were badly hurt. The survivors ran back to the colony, bleeding and terrified. They told everyone what happened. That the wolf creatures were monsters. That peace was a lie. That they needed to fight back. The colony exploded with anger and fear. People who never liked the peace talk said they were right all along. The Varak could not be trusted. They needed to arm themselves. They needed to strike first before more humans died. Captain Doyen had to stop 3 different groups from grabbing weapons and heading into the forest. Mireille cried when she heard. She ran to find Kova. She needed to know if he knew about this. She needed to understand. Hyun and Yuna ran after her, afraid she would get hurt. But Kova was already at the stream, waiting. He looked troubled, sad, angry at himself. Through gestures and the words they had learned, Kova explained. The Shadow Fang pack did not know about humans. They thought the miners were a threat. By Varak law, they had the right to defend their territory. But Kova knew this was bad. This would end the peace. Unless something changed, Kova had a plan. A dangerous plan. He would challenge the Shadow Fang leader to single combat. In Varak culture, if he won, he could speak for all humans in their lands. He could make all Varak packs respect the peace. But if he lost, he would die. And the peace would probably die with him. Mireille begged him not to do it. She could not lose her friend. Not like this. But Kova was firm. He touched her face gently with his nose. He owed her his life. He would use that life to save many others. This was his choice. This was his honor. The challenge was set for 3 days later. It would happen in a clearing deep in the forest, a neutral place where all packs could gather. Captain Doyen and a small group of humans were allowed to watch. Mireille insisted on coming. Yuna did not want her to see violence, but Mireille would not stay behind. Kova was fighting for her people. She needed to be there. The clearing was full of Varak when they arrived. Hundreds of them. Some were from Kova's pack, the Crimson Pack. Others were from different packs. And in the center stood the Shadow Fang leader. He was enormous, even bigger than Kova. His fur was black with streaks of red. His teeth were yellow and chipped from countless fights. His name was Thorn, and he had never lost a challenge. The humans stood at the edge of the clearing. They were the only humans in a sea of giant wolves. Some of the Varak growled at them. Others just stared. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. One wrong move, and this could become a massacre. Nara, the old female, spoke in the Varak language. Her voice was high and carried across the clearing. She was explaining the rules. This was a challenge for leadership rights. The fight would continue until one submitted or died. All packs would honor the outcome. Kova and Thorn circled each other. They were both huge, powerful predators, but Thorn was older, heavier, with more experience. Kova was younger, faster, but smaller. Mireille grabbed her father's hand. She could barely watch. They clashed. The sound was terrible. Teeth and claws, snarling and howling, fur flew. Blood spattered the ground. Thorn fought like a demon, using every dirty trick he knew. He went for Kova's throat. He tried to break Kova's legs. He was brutal and merciless, but Kova was smart. He did not try to match Thorn's strength. He used speed. He dodged. He wore Thorn down. He went for quick strikes and then backed away. It was not the traditional Varak way of fighting. It was something new, something he learned from watching humans think and plan. The fight went on for what felt like hours but was probably only 10 minutes. Both fighters were bleeding. Both were getting tired. Then Thorn made a mistake. He charged too hard and his footing slipped. Kova saw the opening. He used Thorn's own momentum against him, just like he had seen human engineers use leverage to move heavy things. He flipped Thorn onto his back and pinned him down with teeth at his throat. The clearing went silent. Thorn was beaten. By Varric law, Kova should kill him now. That was tradition. That was how challenges ended. The Alpha dies or submits completely. Everyone waited to see what Kova would do. Kova stepped back. He did not kill Thorn, he let him live. He offered mercy. The watching Varric gasped. Some growled in confusion. This was not done. This was not the way. But Kova stood firm. He had learned this from humans. From Mirai. Strength was not just about killing. Real strength was knowing when not to kill. Thorn slowly got to his feet. He was bleeding and beaten. His pride was destroyed. But he was alive. He looked at Kova with something like wonder. Then he lowered his head and bent his front legs. He submitted. He accepted the new way. Vex, the Crimson Pack leader, stepped forward. He howled. One by one, other Varric joined the howl. It was a sound of acceptance. Of agreement. Kova had won. His way was now their way. Humans were under protection. All Varrock packs would honor the peace. Mirai ran to Kova, not caring about the rules or the watching wolves. She hugged his leg, the only part she could reach. Kova was hurt and tired, but he managed to touch her head gently. She was crying with happiness and relief. Her friend was alive. The peace was saved, but not everyone was happy. At the edge of the clearing, a younger Varric watched with anger in his eyes. His name was Thane, and he was Kova's brother. He did not like this. He did not like humans. He did not like mercy. He believed the old ways were better. And as he watched his brother being celebrated for showing weakness, Thane began to plan. The humans and friendly Varric celebrated that night. They had passed a great test. War was avoided. Peace was stronger than before. But Mirai noticed Thane watching from the shadows. She saw the hate in his eyes, and she knew deep in her heart that this was not over. Peace had won today. But there were still those who wanted it to fail. The real challenge was not beating Thorn. The real challenge would be keeping the peace when others worked to destroy it. That battle was still to come. 3 months after the challenge, things looked good. The colony grew bigger. Humans and Varric traded freely. Varric helped humans farm the land. Humans helped Varric with medicine and tools. Children from both species played together, though carefully. Mirai was now 10 years old and spent almost every day with Kova. She could speak basic Varric language. Kova could understand most human words, but under the surface, trouble was growing. Some humans did not like sharing the planet. They wanted humans to be in charge. They thought the Varric should serve them or leave. A man named Juan led this group. He was a miner, angry that humans had died in the mountains. He did not care that peace saved more lives. He wanted revenge. Among the Varric, Thane gathered wolves who felt the same way. They thought the old ways were better. They thought showing mercy made them weak. They believed humans were making the Varric soft. Thane wanted his brother Kova to fail. He wanted to prove that peace was impossible. Mirai started noticing strange things. Varric scouts said they saw humans in forbidden areas. Human guards reported Varric territory markers moved to wrong places. It did not make sense. Both sides were breaking the peace agreements. But why would they do that when everything was going well? She told her father about her worries. He unbelieved her. He started investigating. He found tracks in places where no one should be. He found evidence that someone was trying to cause problems. But he could not prove who. Old Nara had the same concerns. She was wise and saw things others missed. She told Kova that some wolves in his pack were acting strange. They disappeared at night. They whispered in corners. She smelled human scents on them, but not the good humans they knew. Something was wrong. Then everything exploded on the same night. 2 terrible things happened at once. First, a Varric hunting party found their water source poisoned. 3 young wolves drank from it and died in agony. The poison was a chemical that only humans had. The Varric were furious. They howled for war. Even Vex, who supported peace, struggled to hold his pack back. His own nephew was among the dead. Second, a human farm on the edge of the colony was attacked. Varric with weapons charged in, destroying crops and buildings. They used guns stolen from the colony armory. Human guards fought back and wounded several attackers. 1 human was killed. The colony demanded justice. Captain Doyen locked down the colony. All humans had to stay inside the walls. The Varric gathered for a war council. Both sides prepared for battle. The peace was crumbling. Everything they built was falling apart. Mirai refused to give up. She knew something was wrong with both attacks. They were too convenient, happening at the same time. Someone wanted this war. She went to Captain Doyen with an idea. What if humans and Verak worked together to find the truth? What if they investigated as partners? Captain Doyen thought she was crazy. How could they trust each other now? But Kova agreed with Mirai. So did Nara. They both believed enemies from inside were causing this. Vex was harder to convince. 3 wolves were dead. But Kova begged him. Give them 2 days. If they found nothing, then war could come. 2 days to save everything they built. Vex agreed. So did Captain Doyen. A mixed team was formed. Mirai and Kova, of course. Hyun for his scientific knowledge. Nara for her wisdom. A human security officer named Ji-won who was good at tracking. A young Verak named Shen who could smell things no human could detect. They started at the poisoned water source. Hyun analyzed the chemical. It came from the colony, yes, but it was stored in a locked building. Only a few people had access. Ji-won checked the security records. Someone erased the footage from that night. That meant someone with high-level access was involved. Shen, the Verak tracker, found interesting scents near the water. Human scent, yes, but also Verak scent. Not the smell of a Verak who came to drink. The smell of a Verak who stayed and watched. A Verak who was there when the poison was placed but did nothing to stop it. At the attacked farm, they found similar clues. The weapons were human, yes, but the Verak who used them were not practiced fighters. They held the guns wrong. They attacked in ways that made no tactical sense. It was like they were told to attack but did not really know how. And Ji-won found something interesting in the dirt. Boot prints. Human boots. Someone was there who should not have been. Nara put the pieces together. She was old and smart. She saw the pattern. These were not separate attacks. They were coordinated. Someone from the humans and someone from the Verak were working together. They wanted to start a war. But why would enemies work together? Mirai understood. They were not enemies. They were allies. Both groups hated peace. Both groups wanted war. So they helped each other. Thane wanted to destroy his brother's dream. Juan wanted to destroy the Verak. Together they could get what they wanted. The team followed the clues. They tracked boot prints and scent trails. They checked communication records and found secret messages. Everything led to the same place. An old cave system halfway between the colony and Verak territory. A secret meeting place. They reached the caves at dawn of the second day. They had to be careful. If the conspirators saw them coming, they would scatter. The team split up. Humans covered the north entrance. Verak covered the south. Mirai and Kova went in together through a small crack in the rocks. Inside, they found them. Thane and Juan meeting with their followers. About 20 Verak and 15 humans all plotting together. They were planning their final attack. Bombs. They were going to bomb the peace embassy that humans and Verak built together. It would kill leaders from both sides. After that, war would be certain. Mirai's blood ran cold. They had to stop this, but they were just a little girl and one Verak against dozens of enemies. Then she saw the bomb. It was sitting in the corner already armed. A timer ticked down. They had 1 hour. Kova made a decision. He stepped out into the open and roared. Every head turned. Thane's eyes went wide. Then he smiled. His stupid brother walked right into the trap. But Thane did not know about the team outside. When fighting started, Ji-won and the others rushed in. The cave exploded into chaos. Humans fought humans. Verak fought Verak. But the good ones had surprise on their side. Kova went straight for Thane. The 2 brothers crashed together. Thane was bigger, but Kova was fighting for something Thane could not understand. He was fighting for friendship. For peace. For a future where children from both species could play together without fear. Mirai ran for the bomb. She did not know much about explosives, but her mother was a doctor who knew chemistry. Yuna had taught her some things. Mirai looked at the wires. Red, blue, green, black. Which one stopped the timer? She had to guess. She had to be brave. 30 seconds left. Fighting raged around her. 20 seconds. She reached for the blue wire. 10 seconds. She pulled it. The timer stopped at 3 seconds. Mirai let out a breath she did not know she was holding. The bomb was dead. The embassy was safe. They won. Around her, the fighting stopped. The conspirators were beaten. Thane lay on the ground, defeated by his younger brother again. But this time, Kova did not show mercy. Thane tried to kill innocent people. He tried to destroy everything good. He would face justice. They brought the conspirators back in chains. Both human and Verak were shocked when they saw enemies working together. But they were also relieved. The attacks were not from humans or Verak. They were from traitors. The peace itself was still strong. That night, Mirai sat with Kova by their stream. They were exhausted but happy. They stopped a war. They saved the peace. Kova licked her face gently and Mirai laughed. Tomorrow they would rest. The day after they would start building again. Because peace was worth fighting for. Peace was worth saving. And together, humans and Verak could overcome any challenge. The conspiracy was over. But the real work was just beginning. They had to make sure nothing like this happened again. They had to build something so strong that no traitor could break it. They had to build trust that would last forever. 1 year passed since they stopped the conspiracy. The planet had a new name now. Humans and Verak chose it together. They called it Kavora, which meant shared home in a mix of both languages. The colony was now a real city. Buildings reached toward the sky. But between the metal and glass there were stone structures built in Verak style. 2 cultures living as one. Mirai was 11 years old now. She was famous across human space as the girl who made first contact. News ships came to interview her. She hated the attention. She just wanted to spend time with her best friend. Kova understood. He kept the other Verak away when she needed quiet. That was what friends did. Today was special. Today they would sign the Great Treaty. Leaders from Earth came all the way across space. Ambassadors from other alien species came to watch. This was the first time in galactic history that humans and a native species made real peace. Everyone wanted to see it. Everyone wanted to know how it happened. The ceremony would be at the memorial stream, the place where Mirai saved Kova. They built a beautiful garden there. Human flowers grew next to Verak's sacred plants. Stone monuments told the story in pictures that both species could read. At the center was a crystal sculpture showing a small hand removing a thorn from a wolf's snout. It was the moment that changed everything. Hundreds of beings gathered as the sun rose. Humans in their finest clothes. Verak with their fur brushed and decorated with traditional paint. Alien visitors from across the galaxy. News cameras from a dozen worlds. Everyone was here to witness history. Mirai wore a simple blue dress. She did not want fancy clothes. Kova stood beside her, tall and proud. His fur shone like silver in the morning light. Around his neck he wore a collar that Mirai made for him. It had both their names written in human and Verak script. He never took it off. Captain Doyen spoke first. He was older now, his hair more gray, but his voice was still strong. He told the crowd about the early days, about the fear and suspicion, about how a little girl taught them that courage means choosing kindness over fear. He talked about how humans and Verak worked together to overcome every challenge, how they were stronger together than apart. Then Vex spoke. Nara translated his words for the humans. He talked about how the Verak believed only the strong survived. But they learned a new kind of strength. The strength to change. The strength to accept others. The strength to build instead of destroy. He said humans taught them these things, and the Verak were grateful. Then it was Mirai's turn. She walked to the speaking stone, her heart pounding, so many eyes watching her, but then she saw Kova smile. Well, as much as a wolf could smile, she saw her parents in the crowd looking proud. She saw young human children sitting with Verak cubs all waiting to hear what she would say. She spoke simply. She told them she was just a little girl who saw someone in pain and wanted to help. She did not think about species or danger. She just saw someone who needed kindness. She said that was humanity's real gift. Not their technology, not their weapons, their ability to see past differences and offer friendship to anyone, even scary alien wolves. She said the Verak taught humans important things too. They taught them to respect nature, to be strong without being cruel, to value honor and loyalty. Both species had so much to learn from each other. That was what made this piece special. It was not one side winning over the other. It was both sides choosing to grow together. When she finished, there was silence. Then applause. Not just from humans. The Verak howled, which was their way of showing approval. The sound echoed across the forest. Other packs miles away heard it and howled back. It was like the whole world was celebrating. Kova came to the speaking stone. Nara helped him speak. His Verak words were translated for everyone to hear. He said that humans showed him mercy when he was weak. They showed him friendship when he was alone. They showed him a better way to live. He swore that the Verak would honor this peace forever. They would be brothers and sisters with humanity. Today and always, the treaty was brought forward. It was written on a special material, half metal from human forges and half Verak sacred stone. The words were in both languages. It promised mutual protection, fair trade, shared resources, equal justice, and above all, friendship between species. The human governor signed it with ink. Vex pressed his paw into red clay to make his mark. When both signatures were on the document, a cheer went up. Music started playing, human instruments and Verak drums together. Children, both human and Verak, ran into the clearing to play. It was beautiful. As the party continued, Mirai and Kova slipped away to their special spot by the stream. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the water flow. So much had changed since that first morning, but their friendship remained the same. Strong, true, unbreakable. Kova spoke in Verak. Mirai understood every word now. He said she would always be his pack, his family. She was the sister of his heart. Mirai hugged his neck and said he was her best friend in the whole universe. Nothing would ever change that. They talked about the future. Mirai wanted to be an ambassador when she grew up. She wanted to help other species find peace like they did. Kova wanted to travel with her. He wanted to show the galaxy that different species could be friends. Together they would make the universe a little bit better. As the sun set, painting the sky purple and gold, Mirai thought about how it all started. One small act of kindness, removing a thorn from a hurt animal. Such a simple thing. But that simple thing changed the fate of two species. It proved that compassion was stronger than fear, that friendship was possible across any divide, that the smallest person could make the biggest difference. Years later, when Mirai was grown with children of her own, she would bring them to this spot. She would tell them the story of how she met a hurt wolf in the forest, how she was scared but helped anyway, how that choice changed everything, and she would tell them the lesson she learned that day. True strength is not about being the biggest or the strongest. True strength is having the courage to be kind, even when it is hard. True strength is seeing someone different from you and choosing to help instead of hurt. True strength is building bridges instead of walls. The galaxy was big and often scary. There were thousands of species out there. Some were friendly, some were hostile. But humans had something special. They had the ability to see the good in others, to offer friendship freely, to believe that anyone, no matter how different or frightening they seemed, deserved a chance at understanding. That was humanity's gift to the universe, not their ships or weapons or technology, their open hearts, their unwavering belief that friendship was possible, their courage to extend a hand or hug a giant alien wolf and say, "Let us be friends." Old Kova, gray-furred now but still strong, would sit beside Mirai when she told these stories. He would rest his head on her lap while her grandchildren played with his grandcubs. Two families, two species living as one. It was the future they built together. The future that started with a thorn and a choice. The memorial at the stream became a sacred place. Humans and Verak came there to remember, to celebrate, to teach their young ones about the day everything changed. The crystal sculpture caught the light, showing that small hand helping that great wolf. A reminder that size does not matter, that species does not matter. What matters is the choice to be kind. And so the peace continued. Years became decades. Decades became generations. There were still problems sometimes, misunderstandings, conflicts. But humans and Verak always worked them out together. They remembered what Mirai and Kova taught them. That friendship is stronger than fear. That working together makes everyone better. That the best future is one where everyone has a place. Other planets heard about Kavora. They came to see how it worked. Some tried to copy it. Not all succeeded, but the example was there. Proof that peace was possible, that different species could share a world, that the old way of conquest and domination was not the only way. Humanity spread across the stars, meeting new species. And whenever they did, they remembered Kavora. They remembered Mirai and Kova. They remembered that their greatest strength was not in their weapons, but in their hearts. They offered friendship first, violence last, and more often than not it worked. The galaxy slowly became a kinder place, not perfect, never perfect, but better. And it all started on a small colony world in a purple forest, when a little girl saw a hurt wolf and chose compassion over fear. One small choice, one small act of kindness, one thorn removed from one snout, but that was enough. Sometimes that is all it takes to change the world.